All right, tonight I'm going to be talking about a personal experience, the most terrifying thing I've ever personally encountered. Now, this happened in North Alabama, Appalachia, at a small dairy farm that my wife and I used to run. And one night, uh, it started as what, like a classic sleep paralysis incident. Like every story I've ever read about what was classified as sleep paralysis is how this began. Because my wife was having a nightmare, and or what she thought was a nightmare, and in this nightmare there was something yelling in her ear, and it was yelling, but it was unintelligible, incoherent. She couldn't understand what it was saying, but there was something leaning directly in her ear and shouting, and that's how she woke up. And when she woke up, this thing bolted into the shadows. Okay, she saw it bolt into the shadows as she woke up, but she was unable to move. She was unable to speak, move, make any sound at all. But she was clutching my forearm, and her fingernails were actually applied so much pressure that it broke the skin. Okay, so that woke me up. So I kind of got roped into this. Uh, but so I sat up in the bed, and she's still not speaking or anything, still paralyzed. And before I could even turn on the bedside lamp or ask what was going on, this thing emerges from the shadows behind me. And all the best way I can describe it is like it was wearing a robe, like a monk's tunic, a hooded robe, like cloak, uh, that was made out of shadows itself. Like it was so dark that you could clearly see it. It was darker than the dark in the room, in the unlit room. Uh, it was like a black hole just manifested into a monk's tunic. Now, anyway, and this thing had a ghastly pale white face. Now, where the eyes would have been were just black voids, much like this tunic. And this thing was standing at my bedside. We're face to face. I'd say maybe 3 feet away. So I got a good clear look at this thing. And like I said, where the eyes should be were just black sunken voids, and very ghastly pale pallor, but largely featureless. Maybe like a hockey mask or one of those anonymous masks where you could make out where a nose and mouth would be, but not distinguishable as an actual nose or mouth. The only thing that really stood out were the eyes, or the lack thereof, just a black void where the eyes were. Now, I was terrified. You know, the last thing I was expecting was to be woke up. And anyway, it was my instinct. I just started reciting a prayer. It was the Lord's Prayer. I started saying the Lord's Prayer a lot. That's one of my go-tos anyway. I say that one often throughout the day. But yeah, I started reciting the Lord's Prayer aloud, and by I guess it was the second or third rendition, you know, just repeating it over and over, this thing made a shrieking sound. Like I will never forget that shrieking sound, and it bolted into the adjoining room, into the shadows. It's like it disappeared into the black void that was the adjoining room. Now, of course, after this incident, uh, we turned every light in the house on. We searched high and low. You know, it wasn't an intruder, and never saw it again that night, and never had another incident at that place. But I will tell you for sure that I never slept as peacefully in that place again. I always slept very lightly. Would be a good way to put it. We moved shortly thereafter, anyway, maybe a month after that incident happened. We moved back home to Tennessee. But that is definitely the most terrifying thing, most terrifying paranormal experience I've ever personally had. I don't care to repeat it. I've actually shared this story before on my TT, and they muted it for some reason. Now, this is an original story and had my original audio. I mean, this is a personal experience of mine, so I don't know what that was all about. But there's a lot of things you can't say on that platform anyway. I mean, it's just nitpicky stuff. So I believe that this was demonic. Definitely a very oppressive feeling in the room when it was present. Just an energy. It felt malevolent. It felt nefarious. So I think this was a demonic entity. Personally, that's what I believe. And fortunately, the prayer worked for me because I didn't have anything. I didn't have any other plans on deck. Uh, and I sure wasn't planning on it to happen in the first place. Uh, but from now on, I'm going to be doing Jay's Haunted Appalachia on Wednesdays. We're going to go with Wednesdays, and I've decided this is going to be the platform where, there's certain words you can't say on the short form platform. There's certain things like ridiculous rules, and it's not the same here. So if I want to call demonic, demonic. If I want to call a duck, I can, and that's fully what I believe this was. If anybody has any similar experiences, I would love to hear about it. Or if you have your own true paranormal story from Appalachia, I would love to hear that too. Maybe put it on the show with your permission, of course. And you can remain anonymous, or you can keep full bragging rights. That's your call. But again, had been Jay's Haunted Appalachia for this week. I hope y'all enjoyed my story. Totally true story. And I'll catch you again next Wednesday. In the meanwhile, keep Appalachia haunted, y'all.